Hello, my name is Leo. Welcome to another reading of the Elder Scrolls. Today we're going to be reading Second Seed, Book 5 of 2920, the last year, the first era, by Caldevac Townway. 10th of Second Seed, 2920, the Imperial City, Cyrodiil. Your Imperial Majesty, said the Portrait, Vestitul Shiai, opening the door to his chambers with a smile. I have not seen you lately. I thought perhaps you were indisposed with the lovely Raja. She's taken the bath. She's taken the baths at Mare Kurup. The Emperor Reminen III said miserably. Please come in. I've reached the stage where I can only. Wait, no, sorry, that was. Wait, what? No, that was. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do it again. Please come in. I've reached the stage where I can only trust 3 people. You, my son, the prince, and Raja, said the Emperor, petulantly. My entire council is nothing but a pack of spies. What seems to be the matter, Your Imperial Majesty? Asked the Portrait Vestul Shire sympathetically, drawing closed the thick curtain in his chamber. Instantly all around outside the room was extinguished, echoing footsteps on the marble halls, and birds in the springtime gardens. I've discovered that a notorious prisoner, an Orma tribeswoman from Black Marsh called Kachiska, was with the army at Kea Survo while they were encamped there when my son was poisoned, before the battle at Bodrum. I'm sure she would have preferred to kill me, but the opportunity didn't present itself. The Emperor fumed. Fumed? What is that? I don't even know what that word means. The council suggests that we need evidence of our involvement before we prosecute. Of course they would, said the Portrait thoughtfully, particularly if one or more of them was in on the plot. I have a thought, Your Imperial Majesty. Yes, said Remian impatiently. Out with it! Tell the council you're dropping the matter, and I will send out the guard to track this Kasiska down and follow her. We will see who her friends are, and perhaps get an idea of the scope of this plot on Your Imperial Majesty's life. Yes, said Reminen with a satisfied frown. That's a capital plan. We will track this scheme to whoever it leads to. Decidedly, Your Imperial Majesty, smiled the Portrait, parting the curtain so the Empire could leave. In the hallway outside was Vestitul Shire's son, Sovereign Trock. The boy bowed to the Emperor before entering the Portrait's chamber. Are you in trouble, father? Are you in trouble, father? Whispered the Archivari lad. I heard the Emperor found out about what's-her-name, the prisoner. The great art of speechcraft, my boy, said Vestitul Shire to his son, is to tell them what they want to hear in a way that gets them to do what you want them to do. I need you to get a letter to Kachika and make certain she understands that if she does not follow the instructions perfectly, she's risking her own life more than ours. So, I have a question. I've suspected that the Portrait was the one who was trying to kill the Emperor, and obviously the Emperor did too. Is this the first time we found out about this? Or has this been a thing? I don't remember the first 2 books. Maybe you should read them again. Maybe I should, actually. Maybe I will. I'll read them again before I read the next one. Just so it's all fresh in my head. It's been a while since I recorded the first 2. Anyway, 13th of Second Seed, 2920, Mia Kurup, Cyrodiil. Raja? Either way. Raja sank luxuriously into the burbling hot spring, feeling her skin tingle like it was being rubbed by millions of little stones. The rock shelf over her head sheltered her from the misting rain, but let all the sunshine in. streaming in layers through the branches of the trees. It was an idyllic moment in an idyllic life. And when she was finished, she knew that her beauty would be entirely restored. The only thing she needed was a drink of water. The bath itself, while wonderfully fragrant, tasted always of chalk. "Water!" she cried to her servers. "Water, please!" A gaunt woman, with rags tied over her eyes, ran to her side and dropped a goat skin of water. Raja was about to laugh at the woman's prudency. She herself was not ashamed of her naked body, but then she noticed through a crease in the rags that the old woman had no eyes at all. She was like one of those Orma tribesmen Rija had heard about. Wait, Orma tribesmen? Didn't we hear about that in the previous book? But it had never met. Born without eyes. They were masters of their other senses. Oh, now we're talking. The Lord of Mir Koop hired very exotic servants, she thought to herself. In a moment, the woman was gone and forgotten. Rija found it very hard to concentrate on anything but the sun and the water. She opened the cork, but the liquid within held a strange metallic smell to it. Suddenly she was aware that she was not alone. "Okay. Lady Rija," said the captain of the Imperial Guard. "You are, I see, acquainted with Kasiska." "I've never heard of her," stammered Rija before becoming indignant. "What are you doing here? This body is not for your leering eyes." "Never heard of her? When we saw her with you not a minute ago?" "Oh, well, that was her, okay," said the captain, picking up the goat skin and smelling it. "Brought you Nevius Ica, did she? To poison the Emperor with?" Ah, framing the wife. Not the wife. The mistress. "Captain," said one of the guards, running up to him quickly, "we cannot find the Argonian. It is as if she has disappeared into the woods." "Yes, they are good at that," said the captain. "No matter though. We've got her contact at court. That should please His Imperial Majesty. Seize her!" As the guards pulled the writhing naked woman from the pool, she screamed, "I'm innocent! I don't know what this is all about, but I've done nothing! The Emperor will have your heads for this!" "Yes, I imagine he will," smiled the captain, "if he trusts you." Okay, plot is thickening. 21st of 2nd Seed, 2920. Gideon, Blackmarsh. The Sow and Vulture Tavern was the sort of out-of-the-way place that Zook favoured for these sorts of interviews. Besides himself and his companion, there were only a couple of old sea dogs in the shadowy room, and they were more unconscious from the drink than aware. The grime of the unwashed floor was something you felt rather than saw. Gross. Copious dust. Shouldn't it be copious amounts of dust? Copious amounts of dust. Whatever. Keep going. Hung in the air and moving in the sparse rays of dying sunlight. "You have experience in heavy combat?" asked Zook. "The reward is good for this assignment, but the risks are great as well." "Certainly. I have combat experience," replied Mimir haughtily. "I was at the Battle of Bodrum just 2 months ago. If you do your part and get the Emperor to ride through Dozo Pass with a minimal escort on the day and time we've discussed, I'll do my part. Just be certain that he's not travelling in disguise. I'm not going to slaughter every caravan that passes through in the hopes that it contains Emperor Remen." Zook smiled, and Meow looked at himself in the Kothringi's I don't know what that means. Reflective face. He liked the way he looked, the consummate, confident professional. "Agreed," said Zook. "And then you shall have the rest of your gold." Zook placed the large chest onto the table between them. He stood up. "Wait a few minutes before leaving," said Zook. "I don't want you following me. Your employers wish to maintain their anonymity, if by chance you are caught and tortured." "Fine by me," said Meow, ordering more grog. Zook rode his mount through the cramped labyrinthian streets of Gideon, and both he and his horse were happy to pass through the gates into the country. The main road to Castle Giovis was flooded as it was every year in springtide, but Zook knew a shorter way over the hills, riding fast under trees drooping with moss and treacherous slime-coated rocks. He arrived at the castle gates in 2 hours' time. He wasted no time in climbing to Tavia's cell at the top of the highest tower. "What did you think of him?" asked the Empress. "He's a fool," replied Zook, "but that's what we want from this sort of assignment." 30th of second said. How many more pages are there? Dude. Wow. A lot happening on the last 2 days of the freaking this month. Anyway. Yes, the 30th of second seed, 2920, Thurzo Fortress, Cyrodiil. Rajah screamed and screamed and screamed. Within her cell, her only audience was the giant grey stones, crusted with moss, but still sturdy. The guards outside were deaf to her, as they were deaf to all prisoners. The Emperor, miles away in the Imperial City, had likewise been deaf to her cries of innocence. She screamed, knowing well that no one would likely hear her ever again. Well, that sucks. 31st of second seed, 2920, Kaves Rimpass, Cyrodiil. It had been days, weeks, since Turada had seen another human face, Cyrodiil or Dunmer. As she trod the road, she thought to herself how strange it was that such an uninhabited place as Cyrodiil had become the imperial province, seat of the empire. Even the Blossomer and Valorwood must have more populated forest than this heartland wood. She thought back. Was it a month ago, too, when she crossed the border from Morrowind into Cyrodiil? It had been much colder then, but rather than that, she had no sense of time. The guards had been burlesque, but she was always carrying no weaponry. They elected to let her through. Since then, she had seen a few caravans, even shared a meal with some adventurers camping for the night, but met no one who would give her a ride into town. Turada stripped off her shawl and dragged it behind her. For a moment she thought she heard someone behind her and spun around. No one was there. Just a bird perched on a branch making a sound like laughter. She walked on and then stopped. Something was happening. The child had been kicking her in the... Oh, right, she's pregnant. The child had been kicking her in the belly for some time now. But this was a different kind of spasm. Oh no. With a groan, she lurched over to the side of the path, collapsing into the grass. Her child was coming. Oh, here we go. Very graphic. It's icky and gross. She lay on her back and pushed, but she could barely see with her tears of pain and frustration. How had it come to this? Giving birth in the wilderness all by herself, to a child whose father was the Duke of Mournhold. Her scream of rage and agony shook the birds from the trees. The bird that had been laughing at her earlier flew down to the road. She blinked, and the bird was gone, and in its place a naked elf-man stood. Okay. Not as dark as a Dunmer, but as pale as the Ultima. She knew at once it was an Alid, a wild elf. Turada screamed, but the man held her down. Ooh. Okay. After a few minutes of struggle, she felt a release, and then fainted away. When she awoke, it was to the sound of a baby crying. The child had been cleaned and was lying by her side. Turada picked up her baby girl, and for the first time that year, felt tears of happiness stream down her face. She whispered to the trees, "Thank you," and began walking with babe in her arms down the road to the west. The year is continued in mid-year. Okay, that was Second Seed, Book 5 of 2920, the last year of the First Era by Cardivac Downway. This has been another reading of the Elder Scrolls, but for now, my name is Leo, and I will see you next time.